Hey, what up guys, this is Team Radar coming at you, and today we're coming to you with the video of Cards Versus. Today we're doing Mystical Space Typhoon versus Night Beam versus Dust Tornado. And we're going to talk about the ups and downs of these cards. We're going to talk about what you see a little bit more in play, what you see a little bit more inside, how you can use them as tech choices. I know not everyone likes to play Mystical Space Typhoon. I know not everyone likes to play Night Beam, and I know not everyone likes to play Dust Tornado either, but I mean, we've all seen these cards. They've all had their equal time of play. I mean, with Night Beam being relatively new, Dust Tornado and Mystical Space Typhoon being out since the get-go. So yeah, let's start off with Mystical Space Typhoon. Well, Mystical Space Typhoon is a really good card. You can run 3 in your deck. It's a quick play. I guess you would say the downside part about it is, once you set it, you can't activate it. But that's not always a bad thing because there's something called blind MSTing, or just doing things blindly and not being able to know what your opponent has. So, say you set a Space Typhoon. Okay, maybe your opponent has a Mystical Space Typhoon in his hand. He hits your MST. Hey, that's great. You can chain your MST to one of his back roads, or maybe one of his field spell cards. Like, maybe you're playing against Dark Worlds. Mystical Space Typhoon is great against Dark Worlds and using gates. I wouldn't actually recommend you using it on their back row, knowing how they can just chain their Recklesses and their Mind Crushes. So I'd just hold on to the Mystical Space Typhoon if they go into gates. Plus, it's a cost, so they remove, then they discard. So you could just wait till they go gates. They remove their Dark or their Fiend, and you Space Typhoon, and they're stuck with monsters in their hand. And after they went off Reckless, that's why I don't recommend MST being used in their back row, mostly just their fields, because if you can clog up their hand and then not being able to do much, they're not going to get very far. And Mystical Space Typhoon is just a really great card. It's always been a great card. It was like, it's hard to believe that this card was really that great when it was even at 1, just because it was kind of one of those cards that it was never a dead draw. Even if you drew it, like, it's out 1, like, you're gonna do something with it. I mean, at that point, Churnade and Storm and Cold Wave being around that time, now that Cold Wave and Churnade are both gone. Okay, moving on. We'll go with Dust Tornado. We'll save Night Beam for last. Dust Tornado. It's another great card. Not so much main compared to Mystical Space Typhoon over there. But it is a pretty good card, and I mean, I guess you could say it's pretty good against Dark Worlds. I'll give you a little example. You can go ahead and set Dust Tornado, and to play safe, like, so you don't get ripped for a heavy storm, like I always do when I play Dark Worlds. You can wait for him to use something, and then you can chain Dust Tornado to it. And if you have any more spells and traps in your hand, I recommend you setting them, because one thing with Dark Worlds is they slowly eat away your hand. Say you got like 1 card in hand, it just so happens to be a spell or trap. You got Dust Tornado, you chain it, now you don't have a hand. Now they can't go drag down on you. Sure, you can go dealings, but I mean, if you're playing heavy back row versus Dark Worlds, it's gonna be pretty hard for them to destroy everything you have and match it, because just as though they're just gonna blind space because they're not gonna be able to do much, or they're gonna blind graph at you, and then you can go ahead and just chain everything you have. And with drag down, they can't even do anything because you don't have a hand, and you're just destroying everything on their field. So hey, more dead monsters in their hand. And Dust Tornado, one of the good things about Dust Tornado is when you activate it is you have the ability to to set that 1 card. Sure, it can't be activated that turn, but at least it's 1 more card your opponent has to worry about. Now knowing that, oh, my opponent has yet another face down card. So yeah, Dust Tornado, it's a great card. I recommend you siding this card. moving on to Night Beam. Night Beam is new. It came out in Galactic Overlord, I believe. Yeah, Galactic Overlord. And Night Beam is one of those cards where no, it's not a quick play. No, it's not a trap. It's just a simple spell card. Um, Night Beam, though, what it can do, excuse me, what it can do is it can secure plays. So, like, let's say you got like some sort of exceed out or a synchro, and your opponent has a compulse, okay, and they want to be real smartasses about it and waste your battle phase. So you go, oh, attack, and let's say it's like a Stardust, and they're gonna compulse it. Well, right when you draw it, and it's their only face down, and you beam it, oh, hey, guess what? That compulse, it's useless now. Yeah, you're gonna try to lure me straight into battle phase, weren't you? No, I caught you. Now you can't chain your compulse. But one thing about beam is that you can chain, just not directly to it. Like, let's say my opponent has 2 Reckless Greeds, and chances are, I mean, in reality, you just really hope they have 1 back there. Because you go Beam on Reckless, they're going to chain Reckless, the other face down Reckless back to the Beam, and then they're going to chain that Reckless to the other Reckless that was activated. So, while it's face down, you go Beam, they go, okay, chain Reckless. Chain this other Reckless that you beamed to the other Reckless. So you would hope they'd only have 1 Reckless so they don't chain. But I mean, if they don't, like I said, MST, don't be wasting stuff on back row. Do beam on maybe if they've already used their Reckless and you know they have like 2 cards set. Chances are it's probably not going to be another Reckless because they probably want to keep it under 2 turns, so they're going to chain the other Reckless to itself. So do it like when there's 2, and if you hit 1 Reckless, then trust me, Night Beam did its job. Night Beam can do its job against a lot of things, like a lot of continuous trap cards, Call the Haunted. Oh, it's really great against Mermills and Sphere. Same thing goes for Mystical Space Typhoon and Dust Tornado. Don't blind space. Don't blind dust. Don't. Well, you can do blind beam, and they can't do anything. But with Typhoon, if you know they have a Sphere face down, wait till they activate it, then space it. That way, the Sphere won't be able to go through. Same thing with Dust, and then Beam just says, fuck you, you're not even gonna, I'm not even gonna let you do anything. Unless they have another one, then they do the whole chain of this, chain of that, chain of this. Alright guys, well thank you. I hope you liked the video. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe. Ravery23. Okay guys, have a good one. Bye.